Hey there, I'm Kat, and this is Brews and Reviews. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about some of the books that I was really surprised to find were in the included in your Audible subscription feature. So let's talk about what that feature is first. If you have an Audible subscription, you also have access to the Audible library, which is just a bunch of books that you can read and sort of check out as if it is in the library. Different books are added to that all the time and then taken away. But I really feel like recently there have been some books on there that I really wouldn't have expected to be there. And I kind of just wanted to talk about some that I found on there that I was really surprised to see there in a good way. This is a very good surprise. It's more just because I stumbled across them when I was looking, and I feel like these are quite popular books, and if you wanted to read these books, they're currently available on Audible. So if you have access to the Audible subscription service, you can read these for free. Well, for whatever price that you pay for your normal subscription. But like, they're kind of like an additional credit without having to pay for a credit. I don't know. It's just nice library time. Anyway, let's talk about it. I've read some of these books and I haven't read some of the other ones, so some of my descriptions might be off. First up, it's The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. If you've been hearing great things about this book and have been thinking about it for ages but just have never got around to it, it's on Audible now, which I should say is on Audible on Tuesday the 6th of August. I'm not sure if it'll have been taken off in the future, but this video is filmed on Tuesday the 6th of August. Anything that I say in this video is true as of that point in time. So The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue follows a woman called Addie who in the 1700s in France made a deal with a old god, and it essentially turns into her never aging, but as soon as she leaves a room, everybody that she met forgets that she ever existed and is like, who are you? She stays that age, she's never remembered, and then she walks into a bookstore one day and the guy remembers her, and the story sort of goes from there. It's great. I adore this story. I definitely recommend. Then next up we have Red Rising by Pierce Brown. This is one of my favorite sci-fi dystopian stories. This dystopian world has a caste structure, and reds are at the very bottom, golds are at the top. We follow Darrow, who is a miner and he's a red, and something very traumatic happens to him and he decides to join a rebellion, pretend to be a gold, infiltrate them, and cause some havoc. It's a very impactful story. This first book reminds me a lot of The Hunger Games because it does involve like a War Games style school thing, but then the sequels to it are very much space battles. Really cool, very epic. The audiobooks for these are fantastic, and Red Rising is free at the moment. Next up we have Rhapsodic by Laura Thalassa. This is a story about a woman called Callie who does something that she really shouldn't have done, and to cover it up she ends up making a deal with a guy called the Bargainer, who is a fae that can sort of, you know, make deals that you really shouldn't make. They have a sort of relationship and then they don't. But then one day he turns up in her life again, and it sparks a new adventure where he needs her help to save his realm, and it's really interesting. I really liked it. Bargainer kind of gave me Jareth from Labyrinth vibes, so if you're on that train then definitely read this book. It's a good time. The next book I was surprised to see included in the Audible library was Kindred by Octavia Butler. This is a book about a modern black woman who ends up getting repeatedly taken back in time to the antebellum South, specifically to this one plantation where she saves this particular slave owner's son, and it's a really intense book because every time she goes back the stay is longer, it's harder, and like more harrowing things tend to happen because obviously she is a black woman in the antebellum South. It's not going to be a good time for her. It's a really interesting book. It's very well written and I definitely recommend it. Now the next three books I'm going to talk about I haven't read yet, but I was really excited to see them included in the Audible library so that I can actually read them for free. So I was really hyped about these ones, so I don't know if you'll be, but I'm going to tell you anyway. So first up is Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. This has been on like the edge of my TBR for ages. I keep going, oh, I should read that, and then I found it on here and I'm like, I'm definitely reading that. It's necromancers, it's sapphic, and that's all I know about this book because I've purposely tried to stay away from all spoilers. I've heard it's fantastic. People absolutely adore this series and I need to read it. So I'm really happy to see it there. Another book that I am super happy to see is All Systems Red by Martha Wells. This is a book about Murderbot, who is a robot that is designed to do murder, and yet would much prefer to sit in front of the TV and just like watch their show. They don't want to be involved in any of that killing or anything like that. It's none of their business. And I heard so many people talk about this book, and I think there are 4 like novellas. This one's very short, but I never picked it up, and I've always wanted to, and then I just saw it there and I was like, oh my god, pick it up now. So I'm going to be reading that one as well. I'm very excited to see it there. The last book I'm going to talk about is a book that I actually don't know what it's about. It's Lightlark by Alex Astor. Now I believe this is like a fantasy book with a deadly game in it, involving like rulers of nations coming together to play this deadly game. I'm very intrigued by that. I know this seems to be a very polarizing book. People seem to either love or hate it, but like if you're in the camp where you're still curious like me, then this is on Audible at the moment in the library. Yeah, so I hope this helps if you are looking for something to read and you have Audible and you're just thinking, I wish I had more credits. These books can be found in the Audible library. Let me know if you found any other books that you were surprised were in the Audible library, because I really didn't expect any of these to be in it, so I am super hyped. And if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!